Good morning, Stormers. Another little bit of change of pace today. I recently bought Fireteam Zero, and it's a great game. If you haven't played it, I would definitely check it out. It's got some great miniatures in there. This is the Baitbag, and because I don't spend a lot of time actually at home, and I'm never sure when I get a chance to paint, and I don't really like playing with the unpainted miniatures, I've been trying to get these painted fairly quickly. Now, this is from the second operation, which is A Mother's Love. So I've already done all of the first operation, Children of Typhon. I've started the third one, and I've kept this one back. So I want to show you how I've been painting fairly fast. I'm going to do this in real time, so hopefully it doesn't all go completely wrong. But first of all, I just want to say I'm not the professional figure painter. All I'm trying to do is get these figures painted to a reasonable standard that look okay on the tabletop from a distance. So that's my disclaimer. So what I'm going to do with this, I've not even cleaned it up because there aren't that many mold lines on there. It actually looks pretty good. I'm going to save on I'm going to save on priming pretty much, and I'm just going to take a big flat brush. That's a big flat brush like this one, and I'm going to just cover, without any primer on it, I'm going to cover the whole figure in what we've got here, this one. Can you see that? Okay, so it's Vallejo colour, it's flat flesh, 70.955. That's what I'm going to use, and I'm not going to water it down. I'm just going to go straight on there like this, and I'm just going to keep moving the colour around. I'm not bothered where I get it. It's going to go on everything. Can you see? Yeah. So it's going to go on everything. Face, arms, knives. Just make sure you get it everywhere. So we'll just continue. I mean, you'll just get it on the knives as well. I mean, at the end of the day, this will be quite good as a base coat. But it is a base coat, essentially. It's a base coat, and it will be a good primer for what other colours we do. Okay, so like when I said I wasn't actually watering it down, I actually have got this on a wet palette, the colour, so there is a bit of it has been thinned a little bit. So let's just try and get all that done. Okay, so we do need to let this dry for a little bit, because otherwise we'll be in a mess, because we need to put another coat of flesh on top of this. So just make sure it's there. So you don't want to watch me, well, quite literally, you don't want to watch paint dry. In fact, that might already be dry. Okay, so that looks like we've got a full, oh, we missed underneath his thing, underneath his pants. Okay, so that's pretty much covered everything. Can you see that? Yeah. So I don't, is it? Yeah, it's not quite dry yet. So we'll just give it 2 or 3 minutes, and then we'll come back. Okay, I'm back. Like I say, normally if you were painting these like in a batch, like I think there's 8 of these in the set, you would basically you'd be painting them one after the other. So by the time you've finished number 8, this would be completely dry. So at the moment it's not really that dry, or it's not completely dry, but we will just give it another coat, and we're only going to go over the flesh this time. He says going over the knife, which he didn't want to do. So let's just get in there. So this time we're only going to go over the flesh. We just want to build up some colour quickly on the skin areas. We are going to shade this afterwards, so we're not too concerned about covering every tiny detail, because it'll all sort of blend in, hopefully. You see that? Yeah. Okay, so now we'll try and let that dry a little bit more. We will come back to that. Put that there. We will come back to that. Let's get some water, clean off the brush, and hopefully the pants are now dry enough that we can paint those. So we'll change brush. I'll get a bit of a better brush. I need to get some more decent brushes. At the moment this is just what cheap one I bought from the local art shop or model shop / game shop. Now if you want to take a bit longer over these, what I did in the past is I primed this in white completely first, and then instead of painting the pants in what is essentially is going to be, for this case, is going to be Azul Aquamarine. Okay, what you can do is just use inks, and I just inked on top, and it gave me the highlights immediately, which was pretty cool. So I didn't have to worry too much about putting any shading or anything on apart from the deep shading. It just paint ink over white, and it basically gives you some really nice highlights. But I'm trying to save time by not doing a primer coat, so we're just going to go straight onto this. If I get enough views on this and people ask, then I'll show you how to do the one. But I mean, it's not rocket science. Just paint it white and put inks on instead of paint. There you go. I've already given my secret away. So for the pants, I'm going to use Azul Ultramarine. Again, it's Vallejo. We've already got it here. We're not going to water it down apart from it being on the wet palette. And we're just going to quickly go over the figure. And now this time we only want the pants. We don't want to get on anything else. Leave the belt. In hindsight, maybe should have painted the belt first, but I've started this now. So let's get, I mean, I must admit my hands aren't as steady as they used to be. I just came back to painting last year after a huge break of, actually I've already got it on the belt, but anyway, we can go over that. A huge break of around 30 years maybe. I used to do painting when I used to play Call of Cthulhu and things like that in the 80s. That shows you how old I am. Can you see that? Yeah. It's quite difficult to show you and get the angle and be able to paint it. Well, and be able to see where I'm supposed to be painting. I have utmost respect for all these figure painters who have all these videos on YouTube and are able to show it in fine detail what they're doing, because this is quite difficult. Maybe I should have the camera in a different pointing over my shoulder or something, but that's not possible for me at the moment because I'm basically just using my phone. Onto Uberstacks. The system that I normally use to hold my cards when I'm playing Gloomhaven or Fireteam Zero. Amazing invention. So we're not too worried about going over the boots because we're going to paint those anyway, but let's not go bananas. One other unfortunate thing I have with this being my room for painting is it doesn't get a lot of light. I don't know what other people do. Do you get a daylight bulb or something like that? Is that yeah, it is a thing, isn't it? I have to have a look out for one of those because I just really struggle. Sometimes I'm painting something and I think, wow, that looks like pretty awesome. And then when I get it into the light a little bit later, it doesn't look pretty awesome. In fact, it looks pretty shit, to be honest. And then I have to come back and redo it, which is like well annoying. Right, so I think we're pretty much done there with the pants. Like I say, forgive the crudity, but like I say, we're just going for a quick speed paint of this. Well, speedish. Okay, so we're done on the pants. So while we wait for the pants to dry, we will just clean the brush, grab some more flesh and just do another quick once over on the areas that look sort of still darkest because you still see the plastic through, but we're just, like I say, we're going to shade this. I mean, we've got to wait for the pants to dry anyway. So while we're waiting for that, you may as well do this. Make sure you get the hands and the face. Right, now I'm going to change the brush quickly, and while the flesh is still wet, I'm going to mix in a little bit of, I'm using bone white. So I'm going to mix in a little bit of bone white into the flesh, just to create a slightly lighter colour. I would say 2 parts bone white to 1 part flesh. This is, we will water this down a little bit, but I've got a wet palette, so it's not too bad. So it does come wetish. So now we'll just pick out the highlights. Anything that looks like it might hit the light. On the top of his head, his nose, his cheekbones, chin, some raised areas here. Doesn't matter if you go too over the top of the highlights, because we're going to come on with another highlight later anyway. So just get some highlight colour on there. And of course, don't forget the hands. And if you can get on the fingers a bit as well, it'll be quite handy. Depends how small your brush is, really. I need to get a 000 brush. I haven't got one. So I think that will do for that. So we've certainly got some highlights on there. It will show up more probably when we get the shade on. So there we go. Maybe you can't see a great deal there, but there are some highlights on there. So now, while we wait for that to dry, because we want to put one more layer of highlights on, we're going to grab Beastly Brown, again Vallejo, and we're just going to get the boots done. Give it a shake up. Now, why using Beastly Brown, are you saying? Why not using leather brown? I don't like the colour of leather brown, that's why. Don't like it at all. Maybe I don't shake it enough, but I just can't be doing with it. I prefer this. Oh, I'm losing my light. I prefer this. So, we're on the wet palette, so it is watered down a bit. So let's just basically get on there. Don't worry about hitting the base, because we're going to paint the base black. And let's get that colour blocked in. Back of the boots, yeah. Just get the transition between the pants. Missed a bit there. We'll get the other boot. Yeah, I'm thinking I should have put the camera in a different position. Can you see or not see? I don't know if you can see or not. Yeah, maybe. I think you get a general idea. I mean, I'm not showing you any like really hard methods here that you need to be close up to see exactly what I'm doing. It's just basically blocking out areas. So, I mean, if I could do this, anyone can do it. So I'll just finish blocking that in. I think that's pretty much it. Just tied up there between the leg. And I've gone over a bit there, but anyway. Like I say, it's a little bit more difficult than I'm making it than I normally doing it, because I'm trying to do it for you guys. Okay, so that's that boot blocked in. Now what I'm going to do now is just grab a little bit of the bone white, grab a little bit of the brown that I've just used for the boot. I'm going to mix a slightly lighter shade of brown, and I'm not going to wait for this to dry. I'm just going to dab it straight on the top of his boots. Just a little highlight on the back there, coming down the back. I'd say I'm not too fussed about this. We're just looking for a few highlights, just to show that his boot is not just all brown. Well, there we go. Okay, so that's that done. Now hopefully the flesh is now cleaned is dry. So we'll go in with another. I'm just going to use bone white now. I'm not even going to bother putting any flesh in this. I'm just going to get some bone white, and I'm just going to put some in all the areas that are really going to be getting highlights. So the muscles there, top, across his back you've got these little, like I don't know what they're called, but they are muscle trapezoids. Is that a muscle on the back? I don't know. If I knew that, I'd be a fitness teacher, maybe. So just get the fingers, top of the thumb there. Like I say, this is thin because I've got it on a wet palette. If you don't know what a wet palette is, then I'll show you mine, but it's easy to look it up rather than, I mean, there's people do a lot better ones than I've made here. So I'm just trying to figure out where I think that will probably be. Enough. So we're just looking for some highlights there. Okay, so that's basically that done. So we'll call the flesh done. Now what we'll do is we'll quickly grab some black. While we're waiting for that to dry, we'll just grab some black. I'm just going to use gloss black because this is the one I use least of. Again, Vallejo, excuse me, gloss black. I don't use it as much as the flat black, but I'm going to use it here because I am going to clear coat this whole thing anyway. So I might as well use up my gloss black while we're at it. So no watering down. Be careful around the boots. Just go down there. I'm using a flat brush. Just trying to, can you see it? Yeah. Just trying to get around there. Get everything covered. And then this is the tricky bit. super tricky. Although it is easy with a flat brush. That will need another coat, but at least you've got something on there. And already your figure looks better. Let's just go around the outside edge. That's why I like a flat brush for this, because it just makes it so much easier. And already, I mean, we've got a figure already that looks, you know, not so bad. I mean, how long has that taken? I don't know. I'll put a subtitle in the bottom here to see how much it's taken. Oh, I've just put the brush in them on bloody water. Never mind. I'm always doing that. I've got clean water and dirty water, and I'm always trying to keep the clean one. It never happens. Okay, so we clean the brush. We need to let that black dry. So while we're waiting on that, we will just make, as we've got the blue already on the wet palette, and we've got some bone white, we will mix up just a highlighted blue. We won't use a white, we'll just use the bone white. So I would say, let's have a look what we've got here. 2 parts bone white to 1 part blue, just to make a highlight colour. Okay, I'm sorry I can't show my palette, because if I move the camera it'll all go. Well, I can sort of show you, I hope. Let's try and... So yeah, I'm on my wet palette now, and I've just got all my colours there, and now I'm just mixing from the bone white and the blue. I'm just mixing a paler blue. So let's put that back there. Get some paint on the brush, and let's just pick out the high points of the... Okay, that was a complete mistake, I think. No, that's okay. So the high points and the sides of the pockets to start with. So definitely... Oh, I'm off, not even on the camera there. Let's try and get onto the camera so you can see what I'm doing. And then we'll... I tend to lick my brush to blend stuff out. What I mean by that is that if I've got too much paint on, I'll just put it in my mouth. I don't condone that, by the way, but that's just what I do. And we're just trying now to pick out, again, some bits of his pants that are going to be highlighted. I struggle with this because I'm never sure where highlights will go. I mean, that looks like it'd be a highlight down there, and maybe some around there, and maybe some down here. Can you see it? No, you can't see that. And then one there, maybe one there, maybe some on the tops. Over there. I think we need to just get the blue back on his pants there and redo that bit, because that, I think, was too much highlight. Just a little touch more maybe on the top there. I haven't got my light today is terrible, I must admit. I can't really see what I'm doing. Certainly make sure if you're doing this that you get yourself into an area where there's some proper light. I'm just gonna redo this bit here because I think I put too much highlight on that one. I'm just gonna knock down a bit. Okay, so there we go. That's that done. Now, what I did forget to do while we got the black is we're just going to do his blades. I'm going to do his blades black. The reason being is I want to do them silver, and silver will go onto black a lot better. Then it will go on to, can I do that without hitting his head? It will go on to black a lot better. It will go on to flesh for sure. Let's just get that. You can see, yeah. That's his little knife. Let's get his big blade done. Okay, so we're almost done. Just don't want to mess it up now and put black all over his hands, because that would be a disaster and it'd make me look like a complete buffoon. Okay, so that's, can you see it? That's the black done. A little bit there. Okay, that's good enough. So we need to let that dry before we do the silver. Now, what we will do is we'll go back to the brown that we did before. I'll take the smaller brush, yep, the one that I'm not going to try and drop on the floor, which clearly, no matter what it seems like and how professional I'm trying to be, I have actually dropped on the floor. So I'm just going to take a bit of the beastly brown. Can we get in there? Can you see? Yeah. And I'm just going to try. This is the trickiest bit, and I'm still not sure whether I should make this the first bit I do, or leave it to how I'm doing it now, which is basically the end. But I'm thinking if I leave it to the end, it means that it doesn't matter if I paint over it when I'm doing the other bits. This. And it also means if I make a mess of this now, hopefully some of the shading is going to cover it. So I'm sorry if you can't see everything here that you want to see, but let's face it, there's not a lot to see. You're just basically looking at me doing this reasonably fast. I mean, like I've said on many occasions, you are not going to win awards for this. But you can paint figures quick. I mean, I've painted, I'm sure I painted about 6 of these. Like this is, I've got 2 of these left. This is the 7th. I've painted 6 of these in like about 2 hours. Sat watching TV, just painting them up. Mrs. always complaining that I'm dropping paint on the floor, but you know, there's better light in there. So that's the belt done. What we will do now is we'll just grab a little bit of bone white, put that into the belt colour of the brown, and we'll just try and go, just, I don't know if you can see, I was going to try and go around the top of the belt, very, very slightly. It's not working out particularly well because I think the paint's a bit too runny. We'll just try bone white on its own. Just want to give an indication of a highlight on the top of the belt. Probably making things too complicated, to be honest. Okay, and we'll put, while I've got this colour on, I'm just going to put another little highlight on the boots using just the bone white. Because that highlight seems to have soaked in to there. And we'll just try and feather it away. So that's what we've got now after, I don't know, 25 minutes, 20 minutes. So that's done. So what we're going to do is we are going to grab, we need to make sure that just do a little bit of touch up there. We need to make sure this is dry now, because we are going to go on with some shading. So I'm just touching up where I've messed up the highlight. So, shading. I've gone now, I used to use normal oil for everything, because I didn't know any better. And even though I liked the normal oil, it gave nice shading, it was pretty much all I used, and it was just like basically black shading. And sometimes it took away from the colours I was trying to put on there. So I've now got Agrax Earth Shade. Let's see, this one, which is Citadel, for browns and, well, basically for everything that I used to use normal oil for before. This one, it really dark. And I've got Reichland Flesh Shade. I was using before. I was using. Where are we? Have I got it here? Skin Tone, I think it was. Not Umber Wash. Black Wash. I can't find it. But I was using Vallejo Skin Tone, and I wasn't overly keen on it. It's not so bad if you water it down, but I can't find it at the moment. I have got it somewhere. So hopefully this is going to be dry enough now. So we're just going to sling on. We're going to take the Reichland Flesh Shade. We're going to give it a shake. We're going to try and not knock the bottle over, just knock the figure over. We're going to take a brush, a dry brush, and we're going to grab some of this and we're going to blather it all on top of here, only on the flesh tones. Don't worry about it going onto the knife and the blades, because that isn't going to matter. So get it on, move it around, get it into all those hard to reach areas. Try and not mess up with the belt. I mean, you can wait for the belt to dry, but I'm not. I wish I had, to be honest, but I didn't. So don't let it settle. Don't let it settle in some of these areas at the bottom. You don't want big lumps of shading everywhere. You just want it to be not subtle, because you're still going for shading. I mean, at the end of the day, you're trying to. You've got a figure that's like 30mm high, and you want to get. You're trying to exaggerate what shading would be there naturally. Okay, so that's what we've got. Now that we do need to let dry, otherwise we'll be in a whole world of trouble. Okay, so that's Reichland Flesh Shade. That's done on there. Clean the brush. And for the pants and the belt, we're going to use Agrax Earth Shade, but we do need to let this dry first. So like I said, normally you'd probably be painting 2 or 3 figures, and you just come back once you've finished. I sort of touch some of this stuff up. I don't want it to be settling. You would just, by the time you've finished the first figure, sorry, the last figure, you could come back and continue with your first figure. But today we're only doing, obviously, 1 figure. Now I do need to do a little bit of touch up there on his pants. So I can see I've gone the brown. The brown has gone. Can you see that? The brown has gone onto his pants. And so I don't want brown, I want blue. I just want to touch that up. And while I'm at it, I'll just touch up anywhere I think I've made a mess of. The whole figure, you say? No, come on, it's not that bad. Now, what we can do is grab that black. We'll basically do the, just for speed, we'll just make the handles of the blades black as well. So I'll just grab a bit more black. Not a lot. I may as well. I mean, you could do a different colour on there if you wanted, but I'm trying to use as minimum colours as possible just to get this done quickly. And I've already got black, so I'm going to stick with black. I don't think you can see that. Can you see that? Like that. I think that will be enough. I won't bother putting any more black on there because I want to put silver on there now. Normally for silver I would use, well, in another video in the past I've mentioned I used Umbro, and actually I meant Ravel aqua colour silver, which I find this better. But because I'm not actually painting silver on a big large area, I'm just basically going to be dry brushing on these blades. I'm just going to use the silver from Vallejo. So I'm going to give it a good shake up. I don't want it to be watered down, so I'll just, yeah, so it's not really, it's not very thick, this silver, I must admit. It seems to want a lot of shaking. Maybe I should put it into some hot water or something first. Yeah, I think a lot of the pigment of this is at the bottom. So when I'm complaining about this, it could be that it's me and not. I have to give it a good shake at one point. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a very small flat brush-ish, or a brush. Oh, okay, this one I've cut off. This brush I've cut off the ends. Can you see that? No, not really, but anyway. That's the brush I'm going to use for dry brushing. So, yeah, this silver is not very good at all. So I'm going to wipe most of it off, and then I'm just going to dry brush. Really, definitely should use the silver. It's hardly a dry brush because it's so wet. I have to give this silver a real good shake up. Heat it up, shake it, see if I can actually get it to make a nice, decent, thick silver. So I say normally I don't use this. Maybe I'm being a bit unfair, but maybe it's me. So I'm trying to do a dry brush, but the paint is so thin, it's not really working out. But anyway, you can still see the black under the silver. So let's leave that as it is. It's done. Now, by this time, our flesh shade is still drying, but we've separated the flesh from the pants by the belt, and the belt should be dry. So we'll go to Agrax, or Agrax Earth Shade. We'll give that a shake up. We will make sure our ripple and flesh shade is closed properly. Yep. And we'll grab some of this, and we'll get it all over his pants and his boots. This should tone down the really bad shading that I've done. I was going to say we've done, but let's face it, you haven't done anything, I've done it. So the mistakes, anything that looks bad about this is basically down to me and not you guys. Yeah, my little lamp is running out, so I am struggling to see. So let's put a little bit on the belt. I think the belt is dry now. So try and keep away from the flesh. Okay, close that up. You definitely want to close your Citadel paints up because you don't want them to fall on the floor, because they will fall everywhere. And essentially that is basically it. We just need to maybe tidy up the base a bit, which we can do once the shading is dry and it's stopped running onto the base. I mean now if you want, you can go back and you can put a few more highlights. You don't have to do this. This is just you should really wait till the flesh shade is dry though, because it probably will make a big mess. But I'm going to give it a go now. I'm just going to grab a little bit of Bang White, and I am just going to dab the highest spots. Just to give him a little bit of final muscle definition, and on his hands. Don't want to mess this up there. Oh, I might even on the camera. Get the hands there. And that should be it. We'll call that done. Like I say, you're not going to win any awards, but you may, well, you definitely will have figures that are better for the tabletop than just plain grey figures, whatever colour they come in. So, I mean, that's it. I don't know how long it'll take. I'll check in a minute. 39 minutes, I think, something like that. Possibly. 39, 40 minutes for figure. Yeah, I could probably do it quicker if I wasn't talking. I think I could do it in like 25 minutes. But yeah, there you go. So we'll take it. I'll let it dry, give it a quick matte coat, and then I'll do a final reveal, as it were, so you can see it. I might just quickly touch up the base as well, and then you can see it as it is. But I won't actually do any more painting to it as such. So you just see this is what we've done. Okay, thanks for watching. Catch you in a sec. Hey, and here we are with the finished item. Like I've said many times, this is not going to win you any awards, but it will make your figures look better on the tabletop. And if you can knock out, what, 6, if you do like I do, I'm playing solo, so I only ever need 6 of these. And if I can knock 6 of these out in about 3 or 4 hours, that's perfect. 3 hours even, maybe even less. I mean, I'll just show you the board now I mean, there's the figures I've done for the heroes. These are the ones for Op 1. I mean, from this distance, yeah, how cool do they look? Pretty good, eh? Just quickly going back to this figure for a second. All I've done is I've given it a coat of semi-gloss satin first, just to seal it, because I bought one of those and I don't like the final. I don't like the finish it gives, so I just use that as a first spray over to protect it, and then I've given it a coat of Humbrol matte, which just knocks it all down, and it just looks a lot better. And I gave the base a quick repaint as well, as I said I would do. But apart from that, I haven't touched anything else. What I could do next is I could just give the blades a gloss coat, which I may do. So there you go. That's that finished. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you want to see me do anything else like this type of thing, then let me know in the comments, and I'll tackle something else. I've still got a few pieces for Fireteam Zero left to do, including the main boss of Operation 3. So let me know, and of course please like, please subscribe, and here's till next time. See you then. Bye for now.